Today I want to talk about something important. Um, something that been affecting Americans across the nation. Um, Ever since this war against Iran, gas prices been going up. Um, where I'm at in Philadelphia, the prices were I think it was like 270, 280 something a gallon, and now it went up. You know, during the conflict in Iran in the Middle East. Now it's like by last week, I think it was 30. No, it was $3.31 per gallon. Wow, 2 months ago it was like $2 and some change. Um, so I'm gonna be reacting to this video today of how this conflict is affecting automakers and oil and gas prices. So let's get to it.
While automakers are trying to manage huge first in a century transitions to EVs and software defined vehicles, the industry is getting hammered by a series of supply chain shortages. The conflict in Iran is just the latest in this pattern, and it's driving up the price of oil and threatening access to key raw materials. Though the region is not a major producer of car parts, it is, of course, a key producer of oil. And the threats of attacks on tankers in the Strait of Hormuz is effectively cutting off 20% of the world's supply. That has ripple effects for parts made around the world and, in some cases, consumer demand. Oil was trading just above $80 per barrel on Tuesday after spiking above 100 the day before. Over the last 2 weeks, fuel costs have jumped for both ordinary drivers and shipping and freight companies.
Just to pause there real quick. As of yesterday, Iran was attacking oil ships. The ships that carry the oil to bring to America and stuff like that. They was attacking them, and that's bad because now they're attacking the ships and the oil that we need for the gas powered engines for our cars. Of course, they're gonna put the prices up more because now, I mean, someone got to pay for the damage, and also it may become more scarce. I mean, if they keep doing it, it's gonna be harder for gasoline to come to America, so we can use it to fuel our engines.
Duncan Wood, a researcher at the Wilson Center, told me that rising energy prices will also likely push up manufacturing costs overall. This is especially true for natural gas and LNG. This is likely to have more of an impact in Asia than North America, but Asia is the largest car producing region in the world and also where key components like microchips are made. Refining essential raw materials such as steel, aluminum, and glass is also energy intensive. Oil is also what plastics are made from. If this goes on, it could push up the price of the petrochemicals that form them. And some estimate plastics make up about 30% of the parts in a car. The region is also a significant aluminum producer. Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates have installed around 9% of the world's total aluminum smelting capacity. The US imports between 80 and 90% of its primary aluminum. About 20% of it comes from the Gulf. As with plastic, aluminum has become a crucial material for car making, in part because it's lighter than steel and is excellent for reducing weight, which can improve fuel mileage or help EVs achieve better range. Alex Partners managing director Dan Hirsch told me that it is possible that tankers are going around Africa to avoid the region entirely, which adds days or even weeks to transit.
We haven't seen it yet, but at some point somebody's going to run out of a key material, and that's where production disruption happens, and that's even more expensive.
All of this is happening as automakers are paying out billions of dollars in tariff costs and writing down tens of billions of dollars more in EV investments that haven't paid off. So, what does this mean for consumers? Gas Buddy analyst Patrick DeHaan said fuel pump prices in the US have seen two 12-cent increases in the last 2 weeks. At the beginning of March, the majority of US states had gas prices below $3 a gallon. Now, just 19 of them do, and in the next week or two, DeHaan expects that the rest of them will join the others at that higher price point. That gas station in Iowa that Trump talked about in his State of the Union speech that had fuel at $1.85 a gallon, now it's above $3. If parts and material prices rise, that's another cost automakers will either have to eat or pass on to consumers at a time when vehicle prices are already high, just below $50,000. Some analysts so far don't think the spike in gas prices will last long enough to send everyone rushing to smaller, more fuel efficient vehicles or even EVs as consumers have in the past. Duncan Wood said other countries.
Yeah, that's that's another thing that I was thinking about too. If it don't last that long, a lot of people probably won't flock to hybrid vehicles or EVs. But if it did, well, if it do last that long, then people will. A lot of people probably go for electrified vehicles and hybrid vehicles. But I mean, we gotta see how it all plays out with this war that's going on.
Are boosting production to make up for the shortfall, and there is evidence that Iran is running out of missiles to fire at tankers going through the strait. The pandemic era brought all kinds of shortages of raw materials, but also more complicated parts, such as infamously computer chips. The war in Ukraine also hampered the supply of wire harnesses, which the country is a major world producer of. Alex Partners Hirsch said that since the pandemic, it seems that some fundamental things in the global supply chain are broken. Automakers are the most at risk in Alex Partners Disruption Index, which tracks the effects of a wide range of pressures on various industries.
There's no silver bullet for predicting or dealing with all of these crises because they each have some unique thing that you would have to do differently. And that's what we're experiencing.
Okay, that's the end of the video. These gas prices are affecting everybody. Um, I was talking to my coworker yesterday. One of my buddies. Um, he said that before this conflict, he was paying, I think 30. He said he was paying $30 to gas up every week, and he said, now during the conflict, he said that he got to pay $50 a week for a tank. So he got to pay $20 more than what he did before this conflict even started. And he was telling me he was complaining about it because he's not trying to, he got places to be, he got a family, he's currently going to school for being a technician, and now he got to pay $50 per week on gas. I mean, we don't know how long this gonna last. It could last for another few months. It could last for a year. I mean, they try to say that it may not last that long, according to what I think analysts and the White House, but I mean, we don't know how long it's gonna last. You know, but also I want to talk about how automakers use the oil or the materials within the oil to help make their plastics, and there's some of the plastics that they use in the cars. In my opinion, they're already making a lot of money, and plus they already increased the prices on their vehicles. Hopefully, they don't try to increase more for the vehicles just because the oil situation. Now they want to charge more because of that issue. I don't think they should. It's already high as it is now. Like I said, every time something happens, they always dump it on the consumers. Besides trying to find ways to not bite the bullet, but try to find ways that they can keep their prices to, afloat. Keep it to, close to where it's, where it been all these years. But they just, when everything happens, it either could be a chip shortage, oil issues, material issues. It could be something, and they always want to, like, oh, we got to charge them more because this and that. It's not right, and it's not right for people, especially for my generation, Gen Z people. That we as a kid we used to seeing prices, being reasonable, being normal and average, and then now we all graduate, we all grown up now, and then they talking about, oh, y'all gotta do this, y'all gotta do that, y'all lazy, and all this other crap. But I mean, look at the prices. I mean, you could probably buy a cheap car, like a brand new car, starting at like 20, 21, $23,000. And now a brand new car is probably almost close to 30 grand. And I'm talking about the sedans. I ain't talking about the SUVs and everything and the trucks that everybody want to buy. Because to be honest, the average car price should be 20 something $1,000. But people don't go for that. So they're not going to count those. They're going to count the other stuff. You don't, a Honda Civic, it's not $48,000. Um, a Toyota, a Toyota Corolla, a Toyota Camry. People don't go for sedans. That's the problem. They going for SUVs, crossovers, and trucks. So yeah, y'all feeding them the information by going for what y'all desire the most. Nothing against y'all, but I'm just saying that's where they get all their numbers from. But yeah, it's crazy, y'all. I want to touch on something before I let y'all go. Um, Remember when Biden he was pushing for EVs by 2030? I was doing some thinking. I think there's a white line or a white lie with this. Um, because look what's going on in the Middle East with Iran and the bombings and the missile strikes and all this other stuff, right? The attacks and stuff. I believe that Biden was really highly on EVs was because he knew that our oil, mostly our oil, from the video, CNBC had stated most of our oil are from Middle Eastern countries. That's where they mostly come from. And I'm just reading the text because I was texting my one of my buddies yesterday. But we all know that Trump had torn that what was it like I don't know, was it like it was like a law, I forgot how they call it, but Biden wrote it and then Trump torn it down and ripped it apart. Um but yeah, it's like that's what I think. I think Biden, he says that he wanted EVs and hybrids for greener emissions, which is true. I mean, gas power engines do kind of affect the ecosystem and the environment, but I feel like Biden behind closed doors mostly wanted EVs to be pushed, heavily by 2030 is because of the situation with the Middle East. He probably seen that, all right, we do this, it's going to affect Americans, and then it's going to affect us too as a nation because we gotta pay for this to get it over here, and then it's gonna be too much. At some point it might gonna be too much, and it's gonna cause chaos, and you know, a lot of people is not gonna be happy. Not just the government, not just the president, but the citizens of America too are not gonna be happy. But yeah, I was talking about that with my buddy yesterday, but I believe that's probably why he wanted to push so hard on EVs and try to take in what was it, make more EVs and take down combustion engines for good by 2030. But like I said, when Trump came back in the White House, he tore that bill in half. So there's pros and cons to everything. I mean, now we can have our V8s or V6, no more turbochargers and just, four-cylinder engines or inline six. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Y'all have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of y'all week. I'll be back on next week with another video that I would like to talk about. But take care, y'all, and remember, stay driven.